In 1975, an engineer built something that could have saved his entire company. Instead, his bosses looked at it and buried it. 7 years later, that same company would go bankrupt, killed by the very technology it invented. This is the story of how Kodak destroyed itself.
In 1888, a small company in Rochester, New York, changed the world forever. George Eastman, founder of Kodak. Eastman had a simple idea: make photography easy enough for anyone to use. His slogan, "You press the button, we do the rest." It worked. By the 1970s, Kodak controlled 90% of the American film market. Their factories ran day and night. Their cameras were in nearly every American home. Kodak wasn't just a company, it was in the fatal mistake: color. But in 1975, something happened inside Kodak's own research lab that would change everything. An engineer named Steve Sasson built something no one had ever seen before: the world's first digital camera. He showed it to his bosses, expecting excitement. Instead, he got silence. Because if this invention succeeded, it would kill the very thing that made Kodak rich: film. So they buried it. For decades, Kodak sold the world a feeling: family vacations, birthdays, first steps. Their advertisements weren't just selling film, they were selling memories. Kodak moments became part of the American language itself. By the early 2000s, the world had changed. Digital cameras were no longer a threat sitting in a lab. They were everywhere, in every store, in every pocket. Sony, Canon, Nikon, they all built what Kodak had invented and buried. The camera industry moved on without them. One by one, Kodak's factories fell silent. The machines that once produced millions of rolls of film sat empty. And in 2012, after 124 years, Kodak filed for bankruptcy. The company that invented the future had been destroyed by its own decision to protect the past.
Kodak's story isn't just about a company that failed. It's a warning. They had the technology to lead the future. They had the money. They had the talent. But they chose to protect what they had, instead of embracing what was coming. Kodak did survive its bankruptcy, but not as the empire it once was. Today, the company that once dominated photography survives on printing technology and industrial chemicals. Its name still exists, but it's a fraction of what it used to be, competing in businesses it never imagined it would need. The lesson? The biggest threat to any empire isn't always a competitor. Sometimes, it's fear of change from within. If you found this story interesting, subscribe for more deep dives into the companies that built and destroyed themselves. At its peak, Kodak wasn't just a company, it was an institution. By the 1970s, it controlled 90% of the American film market and 85% of camera sales. For nearly a century, Kodak defined what it meant to capture a memory. Its factories in Rochester, New York ran around the clock, producing millions of rolls of film every single day, employing tens of thousands of workers who built their entire lives around the company's success. But dominance built on one product proved fragile. As digital photography, a technology Kodak itself had invented decades earlier, spread through the market in the late 1990s and 2000s, the demand for film collapsed. Kodak stock, once trading above $90 a share, fell below $1 by 2011. Factories that had defined an entire city fell silent in January 2012. After 124 years in business, Eastman Kodak filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It would have been easy for the story to end there. But it didn't. In 2013, Kodak emerged from bankruptcy, smaller, leaner, and almost unrecognizable from the empire it once was. Today, the company survives on two very different pillars: commercial printing technology and industrial chemicals, sold through its advanced materials and chemicals division. It's a business built on patents, licensing, and specialized manufacturing, far from the consumer-facing giant that once sold memories to every American family. And yet, in a quiet twist, Kodak has returned, in a small way, to where it began. In recent years, the company has relaunched its own consumer film products, distributing them directly for the first time since its bankruptcy. It's a niche market now, aimed at photography enthusiasts and filmmakers chasing an analog aesthetic in a digital world. It's a fraction of what Kodak once was. But it's still there. Still making film. Still Kodak. Kodak began as a partnership between George Eastman and Henry A. Strong to develop a film roll camera. After the release of the Kodak camera, Eastman Kodak was incorporated on May 23, 1892. Under Eastman's direction, the company became one of the world's largest film and camera manufacturers, and also developed a model of welfare capitalism and a close relationship with the city of Rochester. 5. During most of the 20th century, Kodak held a dominant position in photographic film, and produced several technological innovations through heavy investment in research and development at Kodak Research Laboratories. 6. 7. Kodak produced some of the most popular camera models of the 20th century, including the Brownie and Instamatic. 8. 9. The company's ubiquity was such that its Kodak Moment tagline entered the common lexicon to describe a personal event that deserved to be recorded for posterity. 10. Kodak began to struggle financially in the late 1990s as a result of increasing competition from Fujifilm. 11. The company also struggled with the transition from film to digital photography, even though Kodak had invented integral color image sensors 12 and had developed the first self-contained digital camera prototype in the mid-1970s. 13. Attempts to diversify its chemical operations failed, and as a turnaround strategy in the 2000s, Kodak instead made an aggressive turn to digital photography and digital printing. 14. These strategies failed to improve the company's finances, and in January 2012, Kodak filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in the United States Bankruptcy Court for the Southern District of New York. 15. 16. 17. In September 2013, the company emerged from bankruptcy, having shed its large legacy liabilities, restructured and exited several businesses. 18. Since emerging from bankruptcy, Kodak has continued to provide commercial digital printing products and services, 19 motion picture film, 20 and still film, 21, the last of which is 23. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, Kodak announced in late July that year it would begin production of pharmaceutical materials.